the question of eggs and
chicken.
Which came first? I don't know.
Very true. Okay.
I don't think I'm responding to your
question. No, that's definitely good. All right. So then, I guess looking at Peru today, I don't know when the last time you visited was, but and you're growing up and like that, did you see? I guess definitely kind of a contradiction between Spanish speakers and predominantly Quechua speakers. I mean, I know it comes to, that could go to racial identity too, because it's indigenous versus...
Contradiction in what sense? What?
I guess looking at how the two, like, I don't know today if people, if they speak Quechua, they only speak Quechua, or if that's in very remote regions, if they do speak Spanish.
I think that's the case. I mean, Quechua is only spoken, Quechua only is spoken in very remote and less, and now with a boom in tourism and that, you know, even that the most remote places are being sort of opened and contacted and invaded. And, but what has happened since, I told you that I grew up part in Lima, part in Cusco, but what has happened has been that since I was a young girl, Lima has grown tremendously, like doubled and tripled in size. And most of the people that, most of the growth has occurred because of immigration from mostly the Andes. And so Lima used to be a very Spanish, since its beginning, I mean, very Spanish-oriented place, and, you know, Peru was the rest.
Right.
And Limeños were very arrogant and sort of proud, stupidly, about, you know, being sort of anti-Peruvian in the sense that the majority of people are mestizos or Indians and so forth. And what has happened is that with the numbers, the incredible numbers of, and a lot has been written about this, but it's true, I've seen it, of migrants and Quechua, you know, a lot of them Quechua migrants, the language, the culture, the music, all representations of culture have been permeated by this Quechua spirit. So I think it's much less so than when I was growing up. That when I was growing up, the Quechua immigrants wanted to immediately forget their Quechua or pretend that they had forgotten their Quechua and be incorporated. But now, of course, the city cannot absorb the Quechua immigrants. So there's a lot of interesting, like, regional clubs, and you know, there are like festivities that belong to, you know, this region, and you know, there's sort of a orgullo, a pride of being Quechua, and that, so that's very positive in that sense.
Definitely. I guess, so that's interesting, because I would have, you may have something to say about this too, that since there is more, you know, tourism and more, it's predominantly moving to Spanish speaking, do you think those areas that were predominantly Quechua are losing their identity?
Well, that is interesting, and I do not know the response to that, but what I can tell you is that with tourism, tourism is sort of a double-edged sword, because on a way it wipes out the culture, or it keeps the culture sort of in a, you know, sort of in a museum type of way. But on the other way, it has created a great pride of the Quechua, because people from all over the world want to sort of be in touch. And, you know, I don't know how real it is, but be in touch with the Quechua culture. You know, they don't want to be in touch with the Spanish culture necessarily.
Right.
You know, but the Quechua culture and the, you know. So there's also an interesting looking into for Quechua speaking people, and culturally, even if they're, you know, looking sort of into, and there's always an asking, who are we, and, you know, and of course, you know, all this is comes also because Peru, after a decade of civil war, is now booming.
Exactly.
And so there's, you know, there's there's economic wealth. You know, I don't want to say that Peru is not a poor country. It's basically, you know, there's a lot of differences, but I think there